welcome to the Laser Sports Academy ZLTAC update. We're very kindly joined by this awesome gentleman, Firebird, who has been kind enough to jump on the call late at night after Cascade 2, which we
Yeah.
all know is a challenge. All we want to do is put the feet up, have a feed,
Oh,
watch the replay games. But this guy is coming through with the content. So
oh,
thanks,
yeah.
mate, for being here.
Good time. Always happy to.
Awesome, mate. And how you feeling? You holding up all right? Have you managed to avoid the sickness that is going around?
Yeah. I've avoided the sickness. I think Storm itself is pretty solid. I don't think anyone's like really crook. I actually think we're all healthy. Just tired and like worn out. Yeah, I think we're looking like one of the healthier teams going right now.
Well, that's great, mate, because everybody on the stream that I've seen so far has been dying or has been talking about. There's been so many teams playing with 4 players because they've got players sick. It's quite incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm curious. I haven't spoken to like a lot of players that are sick or like a lot of those teams personally, but like, yeah, I'm curious how bad the illness that's going around is if people are like playing, because I would, I'd be putting a pack on anyway we've got 6, so it's easy for us to have someone sit if we've got an illness. But if it was a risk of playing with 4, I'd be putting a pack on.
Yeah, most people would have to have their leg half hanging off before they stop playing, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it must be pretty bad if they're sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I hope not. But yeah.
And for some of our international viewers that don't know, Firebirds actually originates from Albury, even though he's a Queensland player now. This is your old stomping ground, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, this was where I came up. This is where I learned how to play the game, if that's what you could call what we used to do. But yeah, no, I started playing in Albury I don't even know, like a decade ago. I can't remember what year I started. 2015 was my first nationals that I went to, and I'd probably been playing for 18 months or 2 years prior to that ish. So yeah.
And I mean, mate, congratulations on the results so far. It's been very heartwarming to see. So for those people that don't know Firebird, it's got to be one of the most loved humans in laser tag. Very likable and just very just genuine human being, and everybody loves playing with him. So to see him getting the results that you're getting this year, mate, is awesome. So you managed to get a 3rd in doubles with Shock. Which is great. You got 4th in solos, and you made the triples finals today as well.
We made triples finals, and we were present for the games.
Yeah, I saw there was a couple of eliminations in there.
It wasn't. It didn't go the way we planned.
That's all good.
We just we didn't win our fights, and we didn't have good space to hold or play out of. We got pressured. We got wiped. We did what we could, but it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I guess solos is a win at the end of the day. I mean, sorry,
doubles
finals is a win at the end of the day, isn't it? So just to get there is great.
Yeah, well, never made a traditional finals for any of the events. The only finals I've made prior is the base flags, like the 2 teams at a time. So it was nice to actually like end up this year making finals for all sides that I competed in, and I didn't compete in law.
Yeah.
So
tell me about how you like. For me, the step up in intensity going into a doubles finals, for example, is just there's nothing like playing those doubles games. Tell us about that.
It's just full on. It doesn't stop. It doesn't let up. It's so much action, so much thought process, so much like communication. It has such a high intensity that it was like, I don't know, I've never played a doubles games like that. It was awesome. It was very cool. Just the flow that you get in with your doubles partner, and like the sort of thinking as one and trying to do, just to get a base here, run. It was incredible. I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, so to withstand the pressure and get a third, mate, congratulations. That's a huge effort. And if you need any incentive to get to training every Wednesday, making a final is all you need, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like, yes, all right, that was all it's all the inspiration I needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, mate. So let's get into the games today. So we just finished Cascade 2.
Yep.
You guys, correct me if I'm wrong, got 4 firsts, a second, and a third today.
Correct. Yes, that's our first third of the entire competition as well.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So you guys must be pretty happy with how you're sitting. Like, tell us about how the team's feeling right now.
Feeling pretty good. I think we were hoping to end up in second place, but we've landed in third, which we're not disappointed by. I think that's where almost everyone has predicted us to land. And, we had some trouble through round robin that we've, addressed and sorted out, and everything's felt a lot better. And we've continued, like, after every game, coming out, figuring out what's not working, or like, there's one small thing, and trying to fix things piece by piece at a time. And things are slowly but surely coming together. And, Cascade 1 was a rough, or not a rough, but it was a tough Cascade. And Cascade 2 just stepped up the intensity, tenfold. And I feel like we held our own really, really well. The third was disappointing, but other than that, we've come out really, really good.
And who's game controlling for your team? Yes, you are. Yes.
Yep.
So you're running the games, and you're out with shock first mainly
for most of the time. There are various. Sometimes it'll be Can, sometimes it'll be Bones. Usually it's Shock. That's just our bread and butter.
Yep. And tell us how is Bones going actually? Because Bones had his first. That's kind of by accident in Hobart, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was like he wasn't going, and then
like at the last minute without a sixth player, and I think we approached Pug originally, and he wanted to play. He wanted to play with his brother Noodle and on the team that they ran in Hobart, so missed out there. And then the next we spoke to Bones, and he stepped up with like 2.5 months training under his belt. Decided to go to Hobart, and we got him there, and we did really well, and he's had a great time. And he's definitely the greenest on the team, but he's got a fantastic attitude. He's just a kind-hearted individual. He loves to be silly and have a giggle, and he's just a good time. He's great to have around.
Yeah, I think it's like a credit to himself and the team to be able to integrate a player who's pretty green. Like, he's only been on the regional scene in Queensland for not that long.
Yeah,
he hasn't been playing a huge amount of time.
He's still relatively new to the scene as well.
So he's integrated into a team that's competing for finals pretty much seamlessly. You guys made a grand final last year. So yeah, it's a pretty it's a credit to the system that you guys run, that you can integrate a player that's that green into a team that's competing. So that must feel pretty good, and he must be pretty stoked. He's walked straight into a team that's competing for finals.
He sort of had it fall in his lap just about.
Yeah, there's a lot of players that have been playing for years that haven't had that experience. So good on your Bones. Well done, mate.
If there were any issues through Hobart, or if it wasn't the right fit, we had that year turnaround to make any changes then if we needed to, and he was right, so he's still here. So
yeah. And tell us about the games today. So were there, from year to year, we often see shifts in the meta, especially come the Cascades. Things start to shift as teams around the same skill level are starting to play each other, and you're starting to, try to discover new strategies that can potentially knock off the teams above you. Did we see that today? Did we see any shifts in the meta today?
I don't think we saw a huge meta shift itself. The games definitely got a little weird. I know some turned into we had one that in particular that opened up and turned into a base race. We also had another one that turned into like a hard lockdown style game. I think 2 bases dropped in its entirety. So I think teams are finding what works for them, and they're trying to force like their preferred style on the arena. And it also depends on the other two. So, if you get Rampage in there, they like a lot slower lockdown game. They don't like to base race. They don't like to run. They don't like to move fast. So, and Catalyst, they like their traditional setup. 2 out, maybe pull a 3 if things aren't going or if they want more traction. So I don't think, for myself, I don't think we saw anything too crazy or too unexpected. I haven't seen, like, there have been a few dumps that have come out. Some of them have been countered pretty well. I don't think some have been successful, but I think most have been countered well enough that we're not seeing a huge shift towards dumping.
Yeah, I did. It was funny watching the stream today because there was most of the games played like what you'd expect with a pretty tight early game, and then you get to 5-6 bases by the end of the game. But
pretty formulaic.
There was just some that blew out to 10, and it was a bit difficult to try and figure out why that was happening occasionally, but it wasn't happening that regularly. But just sounds like some teams were trying to force their.
I remember for us anyway. For us was the replay game we got 10 on. I don't think we hit 10 in any of our others. I rarely chose 10.
Well, tell us about this replay game because I'm sure everybody wants to know what happened. So for those of you at home that weren't watching at the time, there was a game between, essentially it was 1, 2, and 3, wasn't it? It was Vikings, Catalyst, and Storm.
Yeah.
And it got to like the 70 or 80% of the way through. It was pretty much almost done, and the Vikings were leading that game. And then what happened? Was there a server crash or something?
A server crash. There's the timer on the phases stopped counting down, and there was a few other like weird little things that I think there was something. I'm not sure. Other than a server crash is what I know.
Yeah.
So.
And you guys in the first game, you guys were in third at the time of the crash.
So I heard.
And then you guys come out and won the replay game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to complain when it goes my way.
No, that's it. It's always a good sign. Take it when it's there, hey? That's just
100%,
you just got to work with what's in front of you, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, once the replay started, Catalyst stuck 2 inside and ran 3 over to Vikings, and I think they got a hit pretty early. And after a few minutes, I think we'd picked up 2 or 3 Vikings as well, and Vikings hadn't found traction anywhere, so they pulled the pin. And we sort of tried to hold them out for a moment. They got set up inside our base, so we countered and started moving, and that's where we got our 10 from, and just threw the whole game to chaos. So, and we thrive in chaos.
Yeah, so it was just a completely different game, the second one to the first one. So
open, really bad. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good. So, as you know, most anybody that can jump on the ZLTAC Facebook page and see the ladder, they can see the Vikings have got a little break on top of the ladder leading into the System D tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are they gettable, mate? Do you think that?
Definitely. No team's immortal or untouchable. They've taken a few thirds, they've taken a few seconds. They're not the juggernauts that they were in their own maze. So they're a very, very good team, but they're a very beatable team as well. So I'm going to come forward and see what we can do.
It did emerge today. The red really started to stand out as the strongest colour today. Is that something you guys experienced in there?
I didn't think it was red, actually.
I think that the base results it ended up being red.
Yeah, so yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think it was red. There you go.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was blue.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys have a favourite base?
Yeah, I think we're a toss up between red and blue. I think we've struggled working out the nuance of green more than the other 2 bases, so I think that's just possibly where we're least comfortable. But we've still got more talking to do and more to go over. We've got games to review tonight and homework to do before tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't want to leave you from your homework, mate. So I just have one final question before you go get some food in your belly and start watching those games. Who do you think can make it tomorrow? Of all the teams in that top little group, who do you think are going to be the half a dozen or so teams contending for the 3 grand final spots?
At the moment, Vikings, is the best lock for finals. I think, the ever golden favorites, Catalyst, I think us, Apex, I think Rampage are a dark horse. but I think they could have a possibility. I don't think anyone else is super likely. Anyone else would be like a dark horse, even behind Rampage, I think. I would have said Dragons earlier in the week, but I think they're a bit lower down now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're around 9th or 10th or something, so they might be a little bit too far to
They
climb.
looked super dominant at the start of the competition, so I'm not sure what shifted there for those guys, whether it was illness or something changed.
Seems like illness has affected results a little bit this year. So apparently you told me before we jumped on that Husky was dying today.
Yeah, he's not looking good. He's struggling to keep breathing well, I think. But I mean, like, you know, we can all take our vitamins and eat our veggies. And I have a sneaking suspicion that there's a few teams that aren't eating well.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Well, this will be a good learning experience for them for next year to get their greens in. But mate, thanks so much for jumping on so late and after Cascade 2. I really appreciate it. Time to go rest, have a warm meal and sit back with your team, mate. And best of luck for tomorrow.
Sit down, yeah.
Awesome, mate. No worries. Best of luck tomorrow.
Cheers.